Audio is working? I think so. Cool. Hey everyone, John here, lead maintainer of Latterly.io, the website in front of us, which will help you learn to code, land your first or next programming role, and grow your social and professional networks. By the way, Premium is now down to $6 from $40. Huge price reduction. And I am considering doing a expert-led small group. So go to your settings and check interested in an expert-led small group if you're interested in that one. In particular, I'm currently interested in launching a small group to land a six-figure role, which would require a minimum of 2 years of professional experience. So this would not be a learn to code small group. This would be, you already have some experience, maybe you're on the job search, and deferred payment is an available option. So give that a check if you're interested in that. You can check it even if you're interested in some other kind of small group, but that's the one that's top of mind currently. So here's the previous state of the Vite application using React, and we're able to draw funny pictures on Steven's face. Boop, boop. And here is the pull request with a better screen cap, sombrero hat and all. And I had a chat with him, and now I would like to try to reduce this from 34 files to 3 files. So I want to try and use a plain HTML file served statically through Flask. And I should have mentioned Flask in the video title description. I didn't mention Flask. So the previous approach, and I'll leave this in a draft state, we might come back to it and ultimately use it, but we're going to try to do something simpler. So this will be somewhat of an exploratory stream. So in the previous approach, I created a standalone React application using create Vite app. And from a file structure perspective, it's here under the UI folder. And that involved a bunch of boilerplate folders, or a bunch of boilerplate files, which is why the pull request looks large. But there was minimal changes to the actual Flask server. In the new approach, we're going to be empowered to mutate the Flask server and serve statically through Flask. And so the trade-off that I'm going to try to do is just use an index file and just use client-side React only. So we'll see if that works. And there's plenty of other solutions if that doesn't work, but we're going to give that a go because it would be a smaller pull request. It would be a smaller pull request. Oh, one of the interesting changes that is able to potentially empower this pattern is that I don't need to pre-sign the URL. So previously, I was using a Supabase storage. Supabase storage is an authenticated bucket. But this community that uses the no-code-architects-toolkit typically uses unauthenticated videos. And so in that case, I would not need to make an authenticated request. So this UI right here is using a pre-signed URL to load this video. But since the video is public, if I use a different URL, he has one that he said I could use, then I don't need to worry about authentication at all. So that's one of the important design rules for this system, which will allow me to just load it right into a video tag without needing to deal with any of the logic for pre-signing, which is going to reduce the complexity of the pull request. Okay, so to kick off, I'm going to create a new branch. So we'll do draw layer HTML. We'll see if there have been any upstream changes. And I'll merge main instead of resetting main. If we get things working, it says already up to date. Okay, great. If we get things working, I'll delete files, but for now, I'm going to actually make an even bigger pull request just so that I don't delete a bunch of stuff. And one of the reasons for that is I want to be able to leverage the context generator. So under scripts, I created generate AI context, which will print to output the AI context. Okay? And so that will help me appropriately route So I'll say, where should I create a static, or a route, a Flask route to serve static HTML? Let me also make it aware of the main file. I don't know if the main file content is included in here. So I could just add a line into app.py. We'll see. Maybe I'll have a static folder here. Serve static, okay. Where is it placing this? Under routes v1, okay. And it has gone outside of my app. That's a bummer. So we have improper anchoring from the composer. I will copy path Linux style. Oh, that's the wrong file. I'll copy path Linux style over here. Copy path. Okay, so it was able to anchor that time. Let's see if the route also anchored. And now I can delete those other changes out of my multi-root. So I'm using a multi-root, so it got a little confused. The root of the application is not the same as the root of my IDE. That's why it got confused, but no problem. It seems to be anchored now. Okay. So we are serving statically over here. URL prefix is static. And so where should I put the files? Place the HTML. Create a static directory in your project root. no-code-architects-toolkit /static. That makes sense. Okay, I'm going to make a new file, index.html. And here I will just say h1 hello world. Oh, there you go. And let's run it. So here I'll do Python local. I may be able to run this without a Docker container, but we'll go for that. Building that Docker container takes a while. Ali, thank you for the roses. Thank you so much on TikTok. I'll cancel this. We're on layer 25 already, so I don't think getting to 26 will take that long. I enjoy watching you code. Thank you so much. So the main pain point here will just be that developing that UI has a slow loop, but hopefully most of the layers get cached. Okay, it looks like it's running now. So let's go. What's the 8080? I'll drag this over and let's go /static. Let's try localhost 8080. Not found. Go /static. Hello world. There we go. Remains. What are we making? We're trying to take this Tailwind app and make it into a single HTML file. It might be large, warning. Okay. So now I will ask my agent to do all the heavy lifting. I'll say, consider this React app built with create Vite app. Can we add the same functionality into a plain HTML file? Let's load React via CDN. It's fine if we must skip Tailwind, although I prefer to keep Tailwind if we can load via CDN. So this tool will allow us to load a video and draw on it, and then save the draw layers. So we'll need to make a Flask route for the draw layers as well. Looks like we're trying to load Tailwind. So let's see if I can refresh the UI or if I need to, yep, restart my container. Okay. Let's try to run that container again. And it should rebuild with the HTML file included this time. Excuse me, big yawn. Claude is so good. I just started using Copilot. It's great, isn't it? I love Claude in the agent mode on Cursor. I think the experience is better than even using better models that don't have agent mode enabled. So like O3, for example, I don't think it has agent support in Cursor yet. Cool, we're already down there to layer, most of it was cached, right? Someone special, thanks for the likes. Over 100 likes already. So that wasn't too bad. All right, here we are. So it looks pretty good. Dark mode doesn't seem effective. Not a big deal. So let's load a video. And this will fail to fetch, and that's okay. Let's update the HTML in two ways. One, when load videos, is it video or videos? Load videos. Change load videos to load video in the singular. When this button is clicked, do not make an HTTP request for a list of videos. Instead, provide a text input where the source video URL can be submitted. Two, enable dark mode. Enable dark mode to work. Currently, let me double check if the dark class is being appended. Yeah. Currently, the dark class is appended properly, but the page style doesn't re-render. Before I do that, let me stage where we are at. and I'll submit that. And in the meantime, I will say feat static index approach. Remains, thanks for the follow. So let's read a little bit about more about what it did. So it has a script type text Babel. That's cool. So it's running Babel in the UI. It seems to work fine. We've retained the pre-signed URL. That's inappropriate. We won't be signing anymore. Alter the pre-signed URL to be an ordinary URL. We will assume a public video and remove authentication logic. Okay, so now we're just using video URL. That looks better. Let's rerun that container. And while it's rebuilding, we will eyeball the changes. Okay, so we have a Tailwind config is the main change. Cool. We get a simpler video schema. That's nice. And a lot of this gets simplified. Wonderful. Okay, so the feature here is don't pre-sign URL or remove authentication. Those are the features here. Looks good. It's a couple hundred lines, but I think that's tolerable. Okay, so it's unpacking the new built container. Boom. Dark mode works. Load video. So let's go get, he said I can use his video literal. This is Steven, who I'm referring to. He's the original creator of the no-code-architects-toolkit. So I'm working on someone else's repo, if that wasn't clear. I have a fork, of course. And where is that video URL? This one. So let's try this one. And by the way, I'll just open it in its own tab. You can see it's in a public. It's in a public bucket, so it's not authenticated. Okay, so it loads in just fine. Okay, so the feature here is RM auth and fix dark mode. Good. Okay, now we need to add the commenting and fiber functionality. Now let's add the video commenting. Let's do one at a time. Bobby, thank you for the likes. $5.99, love it. 599 likes, thank you so much. And I'm seeing no one on YouTube or Twitch so far. TikTok is where it's at. I think I should be able to run this HTML file directly. and not wait for the Docker rebuild. Not that it's a terrible rebuild. Okay, cool. So we can
in this video, I want to
we can draw.
show you one simple automation that we've been able
Let's get the mustache going.
to use to.
Oh, nope, it's not overlaying. So where's the canvas? And it eagerly did both the drawing and the comments. Did I ask for both? I don't know that I asked for both. Okay, so there's an offset issue in the canvas. Not a big deal. Although I'm not seeing the crosshairs I expect even in that canvas area. I'll say test. Okay, so we can add that comment over there. And then ABC. So we're getting the comments, that's good. And it's jumping properly. Okay, so comments are appended and jump properly. That's worth committing in my book. So feat, init, comments, and fiber integration. So I will say, I currently cannot effectively draw. The canvas doesn't overlay the video element as expected, and even in the canvas area, I do not see the cursor change to a draw cursor as expected when draw is clicked. Wow, over 1,200 likes. That's awesome. Thank you very much. Rock and roll TikTok. So let's try refreshing our HTML file. Let's see if this is good enough.
One channel where
Still have the canvas offset issue, but the drawing works. I think the offset issue is pretty minor. Okay, so now that I stop drawing, the draw comment is not appended. If I make a drawing when I exit draw mode, please append a comment with the drawing metadata to the list of comments. The comment text can simply be drawing only. Over 1,600 likes. TikTok is rocking and rolling. It's no comparison with the other channels. TikTok supremacy. Okay, so I'm refreshing. Load the video. Come over here, we'll draw. And I have drawing only. Now I'll come over here, say A, B, C, append that. And then I can jump to my drawing and it re-renders. Ding, 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 big win right there, big win. I'd like the ability to edit a comment. Add the ability to edit a comment. Yeah. We should probably allow a user to separately, so we want them to be able to edit the comment text, but what about the edit drawing? Edit the comment, let's say edit the comment text. Bobby says, hope my likes give you more visibility. Thank you, Bobby. I'm sure it will. Sean John, joining late, but I haven't had an AI sit in my IDE before. Is this an automated feedback code gen? Yes, it is. And the IDE is called Cursor IDE. Let me bring that up on screen briefly. I recommend the Pro version. 20 bucks a month, very, very, very worth it. I would say basically essential. I challenge you to use this a month. Use it for a month regularly, several days a week. And then see if you can go back to the ordinary way without it. I think you'll have a hard time. This is the cursor I've been hearing about. Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. Over 2,000 likes. Thank you, Sean. Okay, so now I'll have the ability to edit text. And then here, I'll go over here, boom, edit. And then I want to edit ASDF, something more helpful. Looks great. I can jump back to it. Looks great. Dark mode is still working. Yes, it does. I have a nitpick on the style here. I wish this thing would float right, but it's not that big of a deal. You can see in the original, I actually like the way it looks over here more. But it's not worth fighting about. We get the 90% of the stuff we want. Sean John, I'll take a look after your stream. What's the MVP here, or just demonstrating specific things? The MVP is the ability to, so it's like a team is reviewing a video and they want to go back and forth on notes about different timestamps. Like maybe they want to highlight, like, you know, this text should be changed, or so, like we can't display that comment on screen, so please re-record that, you know, section of the video or whatever. So it's for production teams, is the stakeholder. And the MVP is that we are able to do this stuff and then save it to a database. That's the MVP. Make sense? By the way, you may already know this, but the streams will be saved to YouTube. So link is in the bio, so feel free to check that out and it will be persisted over there. Okay, so what did we do here? This is the ability to edit text. Thanks for the follow. Bobby, thank you for the follow. Okay, so we're going to try and reposition the canvas now. That way I can draw literally over the video. We got the 80%, which will preserve access to the play button. That's the intent there, as expected. It's opting for a class relative. I'm not sure that's the right move, but we'll see. I don't know that we need both of these. Do we need both? Double handling the height restriction. So that would truncate it too much, right? So now we're doing tailwind only, which is nicer. Okay. Refreshing, load the video. Let me go back and get it on my clipboard again. Okay, and so I will try to draw.
In this video, I want to show you.
Nope. Still does not. Still does not. I think we need to have a secondary rendering step. And I think the issue is that it's rendering the canvas before the video is loaded in. Code CEO1, thank you for the follow. Quick reminder to sign up for Laterally. You can sign up for free, and premium is only $6 a month. So you can get a chat tool with Laterally cheaper than you can get ChatGPT.
Messages goes, but
I'll say add logic to reposition the canvas when the draw button is clicked. There's that set coordinates. What else did we do? Reposition and resize. Okay. This might work. It seems plausible, doesn't it? Oh, and now I have an issue. Let me see, when did I get this issue? On load video. Ah, it's using, okay. Let me use the, when I click load video, I see, and then I'll ask a question. Are we using an outdated API? Check web if needed. So there I'll add the web action, which we can use because we're using Claude Sonnet, a multimodal model with agent mode. So that's one of the things that you get out of agent mode that's super useful. So it looked up the documentation. And we'll see if that fixed it. It made some change. So we're calling request render all now. Let's go blue. I'm feeling blue. How about you? And the error is gone. That's wonderful. And now I can draw here. I exit drawing, drawing only. Come over here. I'm adding a comment. And the add comment thing grows. So that's good. Let's keep adding a comment. At some point, I think I want it to scroll, eh? I don't know. That's like a minor thing. We can do that. We can do that in a separate PR. If this feels like good enough. I do want the ability to delete a comment though. So let me stage this. Add the ability to delete a comment. Okay, so this is feature draw layer positions correctly. And I'll stage that, and then I'll say, with the color choices, add a color picker for arbitrary color selection. Let's see what we did over here. Okay. Good. Here I have an arbitrary one. Nice. That's what I love to see. What do we think, y'all? How about a deep cyan? Similar to that one, but darker so that the drawing is more obvious. Ooh, I want an undo button. In a, let's see, where should that undo button go? Here we have div, class name, relative, color. So here we're picking the colors, toolbar colors. Color selector, good. Adding IDs makes it nice to work with these language models. I can do something like this. In a row below, let's add an undo button, which undoes the last draw. So here's a feature, color picker and delete comment. Okay, so what if
In this video, I want to show you one simple automation that we've been able to use.
So if I do one of these, oh no, nice. And then if I do two of these, oh no, and it keeps working. I love that. Love that. So this feature is undo draw button. All right, at this point, I think that the UI is fully functional for MVP scope. So I'd like to move to saving the data. I'd like to move to saving the data. Okay. Now let's add a save comments button, which saves the data to the server. Add a server-side Flask endpoint as well with logging. And we're using Blueprint. It seems to already know that we're using Blueprint because it gave me a static serve Blueprint. Okay, so it knows that we're using Blueprint. This is chore rm extraneous imports. So Steven proposed, and he gave me a Postman even, which was cool, that we would want two endpoints, a load video and a save video. So I wonder what this load video is for. This is going to be a video ID. Yeah, so we have a spreadsheet. Should load comments. Yeah, so we want to be able to load the comments for that video. Oh, it's making a directory, eh? I don't really like that. And it's adding this all to the serve static route. I don't like that either. Here, instead, video comments. I created a comments file. Move the logic that saves comment data to this file so that the static serve endpoint is only concerned with serving static content. We're up to 2,400 likes. That's awesome. Okay, so I think this will work temporarily. I'll store this. Let's also add load comments. And what does the API look like here? So we have get the data, we have video ID. Yep. I want the video ID and the URL to be separated. Let's separate the video ID and the video URL. Let's also add load comments. I'll do that, just that for now. I'm going to want to support query parameters on the HTML file, but we'll do that in another step. Got an error here. Oh no, it's going all the way to the end of the file. Yeah, see, we're over, this is the issue. It's so large, we're over 750 lines on the file. I'm going to copy the existing file to clipboard and accept the changes. This is some other file. Maybe that's like an outdated version. Okay, so maybe it succeeded that time around. is what I'm gathering. All right. Good. So I'll start up the Docker container. Let's go ahead and do this client here. And it should handle the case where the video isn't found. It should handle that cleanly. I don't want the save button here in the drawing. I don't really like that. Okay, so we loaded cleanly. I want an error message when we fail to save on the client. So I want two changes here. One, let's make two changes. One, move the Save Comments button out of the drawing section. And two, so we're seeing a bunch of developer experience pain, basically, associated with the fact that this file is just too large now. We're still getting it, but it takes it a few tries. Okay, it still works. So here, still got the video on my clipboard, good deal. We'll load it. And I still have the drawing button over here. Not what I want. Let's see if this form works. The one that's actually on localhost. Okay, so even in this case, I still get an error. Did I get logging? No logging. Oh, I see. Okay, so the agent was unable to make any changes at all. That's what happened. Remove the save button from the drawing controls section. Say try the edit again. Did it de-anchor? Okay, yeah, it de-anchored. It de-anchored. So there's like two levels of model confusion going on. It seems to sort of heal itself fairly well. But it is annoying that I have to deal with that at all. Now I see the changes here, which is what I expect. Okay. Failed to fetch. It'll be better if it says something else. That's okay for now. Could be better. Oh, it's trying to load them from the server every time. That's a problem. Let's see. Is it trying to save? It says 2 hidden. So what should I do? Should I move the backend code over as well? This is empty, so that's not a big deal. Save comments endpoint, and there's no load comments endpoint. So here's feat save comments. Let's just see what it does if I say create the load comments endpoint. So if comments are not found, it should return a 400 series, 400, 404, something like that, 402 maybe. In any of those cases, the client should handle it like gracefully. It shouldn't be very agitated. It's getting the path wrong again. So it doesn't acknowledge that it's getting the path wrong. That's crazy. All right, I'll copy it over manually. Under the static serve. And I'll keep this alphabetical. Okay, so we import it. And now I need to move the load comments logic. All right, so now we're loading comments. The cores issue is a pain, but I don't know that it's a big deal. Okay, not found is handled. It seems gracefully. So let's see. And that is not saved. Okay. Those are saved, but the draw comment is not being saved. Let me stage this. The drawing only comment is not being saved. Are any draw comments, drawings being saved? So we have two index files and its memory. I can purge one of them. Let's see how it does. Here it says that comments were saved successfully. and it made a JSON file. Okay, so under services, where's this JSON file? I don't know. I don't know where it's being saved to. It's being saved somewhere. I think it's being saved elsewhere in my file system. Let me check on that. So on my other screen, I have my C drive open. And so what it thinks it's saving it to comments. Yeah, I don't know where that's being saved to. That's not good. Oh, it's going to be in the container, isn't it? Okay, so I would need to nav into the container. I guess that's good. It's keeping my operating system clean. Can install the dev containers extension. How do I use it in Cursor? I actually haven't used that extension while being in Cursor before. Interesting. I don't know. I could go to Docker, right? And I could just shell into the container. No such container, all right. Oh, that's the image ID. so it doesn't have bash in it. Well, if it doesn't have bash, what does it have? That's interesting. It doesn't have bash on that container. Okay, so we're using sh. And do I have comments? Where do I want to go? I want to go to routes. Then I want to go to v1/video. And there is this comment stir. I don't know where the comments directory is. That's weird. That's weird. So I'm going to ask it to change that path so that I can find it. So here it's got the wrong comments. Before I do the comments thing, I'll say apply the index.html change at this path. Keto, what's up, man? How's it going? Good, that was a nice targeted change.
You need to jump in.
We got that drawing only comment. We can add a comment. We can jump back, jump forward. Good. And if we save comments, we get a cross origin. That's not a big deal. What are you working on today? We are working on a video editor, kind of. It only does a limited set of functionality, though. You can draw on top of the video and provide comments about the video. And so the most recent issue that I'm seeing is that it's saving the comment to like a mystery location. So we should see this comments directory change to use a relative path. Then we should be able to track it down. Okay, so we got pathlib, and yeah, it's getting the current directory. That looks better. So we've got these two index files. I wish it weren't so. Ooh, Supabase storage died. What's up with this? Permission denied. It's editing the wrong index. Look at that. So there's a permission error creating this comments directory. And so I will just create the folder myself. We can load video or ID. Let these be two different input fields. Okay, so we got two input fields now. This is good. When a video is loaded by either approach, save to local storage so the video can be remembered on page refresh. The user should still click load video in this case. it will simply be populated from local storage if appropriate. Also, allow population from query parameters for these fields if the URL is, if the values are found. What are you using Python to do? We have a Flask server that interacts with our database. So it's basically our backend. It's the interface to the database. So we can save drawings and comments to the database. Okay, so hopefully I'll have to go over here and copy this URL less often now that we have local storage added. So I'll add this video URL, I'm going to refresh, and it's auto-loaded. Maybe that's okay. Maybe that's okay. That's okay. Let's see. So let's get another public video if we can. Does he have any others in there? So here's horizontal video.mp4. We got another one. I'm back.mp3. What about mp4? mp4. How about this one? Boom. So here I'll say URL equal this. Boom, and we loaded something else. Good, okay. So I think this is right. This is 213. Is it still loading the horizontal? It's still loading horizontal video though. Okay, so we need to tell it that query parameters should dominate over. Can you explain why you chose to use Python over Node and potentially MongoDB? The answer is that this is someone else's repository, so I'm using the server they provided. So the no-code-architects-toolkit, the Python server already existed. That's the reason. Oh, it's loading this whole thing. Okay, so that could have been my fault, actually. URL failed to load video. Okay. That's not a public video.
In this video, I want I kind of see.
Yeah, it's here. So it is a public video. So why did it not load? Why did it not load? Oh, because I didn't put the full URL there. All right, now we're loading here. And now I can load the other one. Cool.
In this video,
all right, so we can go back and forth. And now if I refresh, it reloads this one. And if I delete the URL, we remember in local storage. Okay.
in this video, I want
Good, good, good. And now if I delete the URL, we remember in local storage, but I can dominate it with this URL. Good. That's all working as expected. And I can jump over here and I can draw. Great. Now saving the comments still has an issue, but that's because this is the C drive path, so that's across origins. Issue. So we have query parameter support and local storage support now. If you were to do it on your own, would you use Node, or in what scenarios would you choose Python? So an important question is going to be whether I want a full stack app that like one team is going to work on front end and back end, and then I can have a unified code base with like Next.js, which runs on Node, and I would use Next functions if possible. But if I want two different teams to deploy independently, that's the key decision. Do I want teams to deploy independently or not? If I want them to deploy independently, then I would probably encapsulate the front end, and I probably wouldn't use Next.js. You could still, but I think that's when Vite really shines. Or you could have a Next.js front end and whatever you want on the back end. So when would you choose Python specifically? I would generally go for Node. I would generally go for Node. And I would try to keep the languages similar and the conventions similar, and I would only break if I had a reason. So what would be a good reason? One is if the skills for the backend team, if they're just not good at Node. Two, at extreme scale, you can sometimes get a performance benefit with using other languages. At normal scale, and even like at country level scale, it's still usually pretty negligible. But there are some cases where switching language gives you a performance bonus. The other one will be the library set. So Python has a lot of data science libraries that aren't supported in Node.js. So that's really the bigger reason that comes to mind, is if we need to do like runtime data science, basically. Does that make sense? Good question. I think most of the time you can get away with full stack TypeScript. Okay, so let's try to run the server now. Oh, and it doesn't need to make a directory. Now that it doesn't need to make a directory, got a bunch of cached layers. Keto says, I'm learning full stack JavaScript and I'm trying to stay away from other languages. That's smart. Yeah, learn one at a time. I would go for TypeScript though, not just JavaScript. You could say it's a different language, but it's just JavaScript with types. It's just JavaScript with types. So that's a really low, it's not going to break your focus, and it's going to give you a lot of value. So I would go for TypeScript. But JavaScript is cool too. All right, so that succeeded now that it didn't have to create the folder. So now let's try to go on the local host over here. I'm going to go over to 42 and draw a smiley face. Got my smiley face. And now let's save it. Failed to save comments. All right, let's look at the logs. Permission denied. Oh no, this doesn't look good. Okay, so we're going to have it try to use a temp directory, and maybe on the container we'll have temp directory write access is the hope. We could also change the Docker file, but I'm trying to avoid that. Really, this is an unnecessary step entirely, because ultimately we should save to the database, not a local file. This is just like a developer tool, basically, because I can't see Steven's Airtable. That's the issue. Let's go ahead and make our pull request over here. So let's see if we can deal with this. So we'll try to load. It loads automatically, okay? Comments are not found. That's okay. I'll just say hi, add a comment, and how do I save? Save it. Comment saved, it says. Now if I look over here, so nothing has changed, but I should have temp directory. Can't cd to temp. Where is temp, dude? Where is it? Oh, I got here. I got to temp, cd temp comments. Can't cd to temp comments. Okay. Well, okay, what if I refresh? The comment loaded. That's super weird. So, the shelling user, it's because I have a wrong user, isn't it? Let me look at this Docker file. I won't change it, but I'll try to read it. So we're specifying a user. Yeah, app user. Okay. Let's see if app user can shell in. No, still can't do it. Can I cat the file? Do I need to use root? Okay. Since temp is typically world writable. Yeah, it is, but why? Saving and loading works. But I can't view the JSON file when I shell into my container. Don't change any code. Just explain how I can view the physical JSON file. I don't see temp comments when I shell in, even using root. It could be mounted in a different namespace. Whoa, it is. It's mounted in a different namespace. Okay. We didn't do that explicitly, just did that implicitly. It's an in-memory file system. Yep. Container ID. Oh, I started a new one. List running containers. So here's the container ID. Yeah, that totally makes sense. That totally makes sense. So now I have a temp, right? And now I have a comments. Okay, I was going by the image name and just starting a new container. That's on me. So if I cat 5 tab, no, I can't tab in Windows. Okay, so there it is. There's my data. I think this is fine for MVP. We can get it to the database later. That's my opinion. Nice. Yeah, a win is a win. Let's take the win. I need to go sleep. Thanks, y'all. Thanks for being here. Over 2,400 likes on TikTok. I appreciate everyone. See